understanding your learning style from your client, like how do they like to be communicated. And equally, I've learned that you've got to put parameters in with your time as well. So, we run 6 to 8 buyers at any one time. So it's a very high touch. It's very communicative, and we collaborate with the team. So everybody knows where everything's happening at the same time. So yeah, I think we spend a lot of time educating at the very beginning of the client journey. Again, that's setting expectations or realigning the expectations of the clients. And often we're dealing with two parties, so they're not on the same page. So how can you do your job if they're not meeting and understanding? So we spend probably, I'd say, week to 2 weeks sometimes really educating them, showing them what is on the market, what they can afford. We're very solution focused as well. So there's always something and there's always a level of compromise. It's just not, I guess it's just for them to identify where that compromise is.
Welcome back to another episode of the Property Management Podcast. Thank you so much for having me in your ears. Today's episode is a little bit different, and it's one that's going to stay with you long after you've listened today. We're talking about turning pain into power, about what happens when life pulls the rug out from under you and somehow you find the strength not just to stand back up, but to rise even stronger than before. My guest today is the incredible Joanna Boyd, a powerhouse in the real estate world with nearly 3 decades of experience under her belt. She's a proud mum of 3, a buyer's agent, a trainer, a mentor, and someone who's been recognised time and time again for her outstanding contribution to the industry. But behind all the accolades and achievements is a deeply personal story of heartbreak and healing. In 2017, Joanna's world changed in an instant when her husband Tony tragically passed away during a family holiday. She was suddenly navigating the unimaginable: grief, single parenthood, and life-altering decisions about her home and future, all while trying to stay strong for her children. What she discovered through that journey was the true power of support, empathy, and real guidance, especially when you're facing major life transitions like buying or selling property. Today, Joanna shares her story with so much raw honesty, wisdom, and grace. We talk about resilience, rediscovering purpose, and how her personal loss became the driving force behind the work she now does, helping others find their next chapter with clarity and confidence. This episode is a powerful reminder that even in our darkest moments, there's light to be found, and that sometimes our greatest pain can lead us to our true calling. So grab yourself a cuppa, get comfy, and let's dive into this heartfelt conversation with the incredible Joanna Boyd. Well, I have the amazing Jo with me on the podcast today. I am super excited to have you here, Jo, and I'm looking forward to diving into our conversation today. But before we dive in, can you please share with our audience a little bit about yourself and what you do now?
Perfect. Absolutely. Thank you for the introduction. So, Joanna Boyd, buyer's advocate. I am a buyer's agent based here in Brisbane. Been navigating the real estate sector for the last 27 years. So I've had a lot of experience in different, I guess, parts of our exciting industry. And yeah, I'm just living the dream now, just working with beautiful clients, spending people's money and buying beautiful homes.
Amazing. So what did you do before you were a buyer's agent? I didn't know that. Yeah, were you a sales agent or what was
No,
No.
so I've been in real estate franchising for many years. So I worked with 2 different brands. So ultimately, I did a lot of their business development and sort of acquiring franchisees for the business, and then providing a lot of support to the business owners as well. So doing a lot of recruitment and I guess accountability buddy with the business owners. And I think now that I'm a business owner, I know how lonely it gets as well. So being a bit more of a sounding board to them and sort of giving direction and guidance in their businesses, and then also filtering that support level down to their frontline staff as well. So there was a lot of hands-on, recruitment, business development, like support, lots of different things. So I did that for two brands. I used to own a recruitment agency and I specialized in property as well and real estate. So I'd recruit for different clients in the industry. And then I also worked for Aon Insurance. So I was the national sales manager for them and worked a lot with business owners in regards to professional indemnity, public liability, office insurance, and then right down to like landlords and tenants insurance. So I feel like I've covered everything now. And I guess that's the value that I can bring to my clients is that I've been exposed to a lot of things, but equally very well connected that I know who I need to go to speak to for extra information or advice.
Amazing. A wealth of knowledge there. And I just want to backtrack a little bit. We actually met on the Hands Across the Water bike ride just last month. Gosh, it seems like
Yep.
such a long time ago now.
No.
And I'm curious, and we had a beautiful connection, and we had a beautiful connection with lots of other people on our ride as well. Tell me, share with our audience about your experience, what you got out of it, and how you have got over the hangover since you've been back.
I think I'm still on a high, actually. I feel like I took so much out of that. I needed that in my life at that point in time. I've had a lot going on. And, that analogy, put your own oxygen mask, I think that's really prevalent. So I think my biggest takeaways was riding with so many influential people that, you and I would go and watch on the stage and, they'd command an audience and train us and teach us. But when we're all in our lycras, absolutely sweating bullets and trying to get up and down those hills, with grace and demur, it's sort of a bit interesting how we're all on the same page, right? Everybody's got a story and you'd sort of ride along and you'd have a chat with somebody and then you'd tap out because, you'd be going uphill and you wanted to be in your own headspace or whatever. So I think the massive takeaways in so many things about your personal resilience, like and professionally and mentally and physically, like really understanding how much you can push yourself, but equally the beautiful friendships that we all developed. And I don't think that we realize the strength that we would have in that camaraderie. And so many people have asked me since I've come back, and probably you as well, like, how was it? But we can't tell people how it was, hey? Like, it was just these feelings. It was just phenomenal. So, yeah, it was very, very empowering in so many ways.
It absolutely was, and you're right. I'm still on a high, and I think one of the things we discussed when we had lunch the other week was I have realized a bit how lonely I have felt not having people around me 24/7 and having that, getting up for that purpose every morning, and
Yeah.
that's kind of been one of the, I guess, where the hangover has come into it for me. But yeah, even just hearing you talk then, I had the biggest smile on my face and my heart felt really full again.
Yeah.
But one of the stories that really moved me the most on the ride was your own story. And you bravely got up in front of everybody and shared your tragic but equally inspiring story. And what I took away from your story was that, out of, those dire circumstances comes amazing resilience and growth. So, yeah, would you mind just sharing with our audience a little bit about your story
Sure.
and
Yeah.
what you've been through to now, be this amazing business owner, mum, and human?
Yeah, thank you. It's funny because, I'm quite open to my story. It's all over my website. It's just part of me. And it's, when I talk about it, I don't want people to think that I'm disconnected from it. It's more that it has been such a part of my life. But equally, I've hit that reset button and I totally understand and appreciate the lessons that I have learned. So essentially, family holiday 8 years ago, my husband and I and the three children had a family holiday in Bali, and Tony suddenly had a massive heart attack in front of myself and the children. And yeah, essentially there was just nothing that anyone could have done. Even if he was in a hospital here in Queensland, it would have still been the same outcome. So being in a third world country, obviously we're not just exposed to the death, but it was everything else that went behind the scenes, trying to, get him out of the country back to Australia, and all the red tape and I guess all the hoops that I had to jump through. Equally, supporting the children and that as well, and trying to navigate all of that. So I distinctly remember, looking at Tony deceased on the ground where we were in a hotel bar in Kuta in Bali. And I just remember thinking to myself, I've got this. I've so got this. We were married 24 years. We both had quite full on careers. Tony always had pushed me to be better in myself, and I've naturally seemed to be wired that way, that I appreciate now that I've actually got a high tolerance to things, and I can actually, maintain and work through different scenarios. So it was funny, I sort of applied all of those things that I had learned in that moment to get us through that phase, and then, obviously home and rebuild and that sort of thing. So I very much look at the situation that outcome I could have never have changed, and I don't ever want to be a victim to that situation. And equally, I have to be supporting my children emotionally, financially, mentally. Like, it's over to me. So it's been very much, I guess, that key driver for me, just to continually just work hard, be a good person, lead by example. And I actually do genuinely care about people. And I think that's where the beauty in my business has evolved, is that everybody's got a story. Yes, it might not be grief and loss, but everybody's got something. And I think, again, going back to the ride, very, very prominent. Like, we've all had some sort of life history or situation. And it's being empathetic and understanding of that, being able to try and nurture and support people through those situations. So, yeah, I look at my situation as a blessing. And equally with the children, they are now, what have I got, 23, 20, and 17. They understand that life's short. So, we all take opportunities as they're presented. And, my daughter's been living in the UK, the boys have been doing different things. Yeah, so we're all very much just keep going forward and conquering whatever we can do. So it's very heartfelt, and it's awful, the situation, but it's a reality check as well. And when I decided to do the ride with Hands Across the Water, I literally had just come off the back of a 3-month solo escapade through Europe, because I needed to tap out and recharge up. And I reached out to Steve and I'm like, right, I'm in this year. I'm definitely going to do this bike ride. So yeah, I think it's just taking those opportunities when they present themselves. And I don't know what that lesson is going to be, but there is always something that I've learned about myself or others when I embrace new things.
That's amazing. I think you've just nailed what a growth mindset is right there in that conversation.
Maybe.
Yeah. But were there, I mean, I know this is like, it's going to sound like a ridiculous question, but there must have been times where you felt like you couldn't keep going, that you wanted to pull the blankets up over your head. And what was it, your kids? Like, was it something innate in you, or was it your husband, saying, his voice in your head, like, get up, keep moving, you've got to do this, you've got to keep
Yeah,
going?
I think realistically it's been the kids. I think when I'm feeling the most vulnerable, it's probably more that loneliness, that and the milestones with the kids, like, when they go to their formals, or, graduations, or those things. And I look around the room and it's like, there's mum and dads, like there's mum and dads everywhere, and it's just me. So, it's quite funny if we're in those situations now. I always take a wingman, which is normally one of the other kids. So, we are such a tight unit, little family of 4, that we all just do the parenting together in some respect. So I feel, yeah, I don't know. I do hear Tony's voice a lot, but equally I've got that strong willpower. I've got this. Like, I literally am becoming more and more Teflon, and I'm finding that more in the business, that you wake up in the morning and you're like, okay, bring it on. Like, you go into the day thinking I'm going to do this, but I'm in such a reactive industry that I have to stop and just deal with what I need to deal with in that moment. So I don't know. I just seem to get drive from somewhere. I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bizarre.
It's very inspiring. And I've just been through a period of grief in my life as well, grieving the end of my marriage. And I lost my mum last year as well. So, but I've had to keep going as well. Like,
Yeah.
you either, give up or you show up is something that I keep saying over and over in my head. Or, the other mantra that I've got is, this is happening for me, not to me. So do you have some things like that that you turn to when there are those really dark moments where you do feel life is not fair and, did this happen to me? Why did this happen
Yeah.
for us?
I feel like things happen for a reason though, right? And it was interesting because I'm doing a mastermind series with Sherry Storer, and we had Terry Irwin speak to us last week. And
That would
just
have been
listening to
amazing. That would
it
have
was
been
so
so good.
amazing. And I wrote down all of these quotes and things like that. And yeah, like, but one thing that was quite prevalent, she was like, grief and loss and challenges can be presented in so many different ways, but you've almost got to sit in it and swim with it and actually really get those feelings to be able to come out the other side. So yeah, I don't know. I just it's not my nature to not keep moving. So I feel like, there's so many little bits of wisdom and tidbits that I've learned along the way. But I think it's really important, and I'm learning more and more about surrounding myself with other like-minded people. And you've got it, for me, it's not about the quantity of friends and people in my circles, it's about having the quality. And you have your personal, your work friends, like you've got so many different buckets, and you've just got to keep rotating them around slightly and dipping into them. And the biggest thing is identifying yourself and where you're at. So, sometimes I'm more emotionally depleted. I was emotionally and mentally depleted before I went to the ride with Hands Across the Waters. And I actually was getting some professional help, and she gave me little things that she wanted me to think about whilst I was on my ride. And it is about, filling your own bucket and being able to, be good to everybody. But yeah, oxygen mask first, I guess the biggest thing. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think that's a great point that you mentioned there as well, is that we've, especially as business owners and working mums, you feel like you've got to have it all worked out, but we don't have it all worked out. And especially if we didn't have great role modeling ourselves in our childhood and our formative years. So, there's no shame in asking for help, getting professional help. I've seen all sorts of, help over the years, from healers to psychologists to
Yeah.
psychiatrists. Therapists, I've been there, I've done it, and I'm just about ready to go back and get some more. So
Yeah.
yeah, there's no shame in that reaching out. And I think the support that you get for you personally translates to, being better, showing up better as a mother and as a business leader as well. Would you agree with that? Are you feeling overwhelmed and thinking about selling your rent roll? Don't worry, you're not alone, and HDNU is here to help. Whether you're ready to sell now or you just want to plan for the future, the friendly and approachable team at HDNU makes the process simple and stress-free. Hello, yes please. With over 30 years of expertise, they're not just about crunching the numbers. They genuinely care about helping you maximize your agency's value and get the best outcome for you. Their sales readiness bundle is like having a trusted advisor by your side. They'll work closely with you to assess your agency's key factors, create an easy to understand heat map of your strengths and opportunities, and then sit down with you for a 90-minute workshop to guide you on what to do next. They'll look at everything from rent roll earnings and rent arrears to compliance and team performance and explain it all in plain English. If you're planning to sell soon, HDNU can even handle the whole process for you, from finding qualified buyers to negotiating the deal. Their friendly, professional team takes the stress out of selling so you can feel confident every step of the way. And to get started, simply book in a meeting with the team today. Their link is in the show notes. They're here to help you move forward with confidence. Let's be real. Compliance is one of the biggest challenges in property management, and it can be overwhelming to navigate. It's time-consuming, stressful, and let's face it, one missed compliance check could lead to serious legal and financial risks, and no one wants that. That's where Sensor Insure comes in. Powered by smart sensor technology, it offers highly competitive building and landlord insurance, bundled with an ecosystem of smart safety devices. These include tamper-proof smoke alarms and water leak detectors with automated remote testing and a 24/7 accessible audit trail. Yes, you heard me right. Sensor Insure is a game changer. It's always on and integrates seamlessly with your trust platform to streamline processes and provides live reporting across your entire rental portfolio. This ensures you're always meeting compliance requirements, giving you total peace of mind. No more waking up in the middle of the night stressed or worried that you've missed something or your team has missed something. So whether you're looking to improve your processes and efficiency, reduce stress, or protect your agency from risk, Sensor Insure has you covered. You really should see how it works. I totally encourage you to book in a free demo today by heading to sensorglobal.com or the show notes to learn more about their solutions and how they can transform your compliance game.
Absolutely. And it's funny, I had a family meeting last night with my children because there was a few things that had to be discussed, but they can see what I'm doing. They're seeing that mum's working hard to, put a roof over their head and everything else. But it was really good for us to sit as a family unit and talk about goals and supporting each other. And, they are still young, but they've got a whole future ahead of them. So they've got to start making some really good decisions now, which is going to, pave the way for them. It's funny, in real estate land, we talk about having a toolbox, and in our toolbox is all these different professions and trades and resources that you need to give to your clients, right? Because again, we're very reactive. We need to do things on the fly. So I also have to have my own tool bucket. So, and that's what you were just talking about with health and wellness and, trying to get that elusive balance. It's never going to be 100% accurate, but it's being able to acknowledge where you're feeling depleted and who you need to go to fill that up.
Absolutely. And I guess they're all lessons as well. And like you said, real estate's reactive. And you, after 27 years, you've seen the ups and the downs, the global financial crisis, the natural disasters. Has, your circumstances allowed you to not ride the waves of business easier, but you've obviously got, something that nothing that you'll go through now will ever be worse than what you've already been through.
No. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I'm very fortunate that before Tony passed away, we actually had the insurances and so forth in place. So that allowed for me to actually purchase a family home for my children, and then from there I was able to then inject all my time and effort straight into my business. So I'm very fortunate that I was in that financial situation. Equally, I didn't get any loans or anything for my business, so everything that I've created has been purely hard work and re-injecting your profits into your business. So I feel like I'm at that turning point and cusp now that I've again know my business inside out and back to front, and I know where I'm wanting to go with it. So again, fortunate and lucky that I did have that headspace to actually get the necessary financials in place beforehand.
Yeah. And tell me about your journey in business ownership, because obviously you've come from working for big businesses, franchises. How did you transition into, or what was the transition into starting your own business? And then talk about some of the highs and low moments that you've had throughout that
Sure.
journey. Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like, I always thought it was just going to be me and maybe a PA or something supporting me. I thought I'll work from home. Within probably 3 or 4 months, I was like, no, I need a PA. We worked from my house for 2 days, and I was like, stuff this, not going to happen. I need to find an office space because I didn't want to mix, and I still don't mix business and home life. Like I feel if I leave the office, I leave the office and I be hands-on mum. So that's something important to me that you can sort of, have that disconnection. In terms of ownership, it's been a road. Like it's been lonely, it's been emotional. I don't have a special person in my life at the moment that I can debrief and, talk to somebody about that gets what it's like. Things been challenging, expectations of others and vice versa has been challenging, the market. The only saving grace, I think, what sort of established me more is because I have been in the industry for a long time. I head up the REIQ for the buyer's agent chapter, so I'm the chapter chair for them. Also, REBA, which is the Real Estate Buyers Agent Association of Australia, I'm the state rep for them. So I do get a lot of opportunities to do training and to facilitate training, marketing, media, that sort of thing, and sort of, I guess, be a bit of a thought leader in my space. So I feel like that's put me in good stead as well. But again, having said that, it's very much me driving it and me being the front of it, particularly because the brand is my name. So I think in hindsight, I potentially should have not called my business my name, but here we are, and we're just going to keep rolling with it
Oh, it's
because
a great.
it's too complicated to rebrand. And at this stage, I'm just like, no, I can't do it.
No, it's a great name, and people do know you. So
Yeah,
yeah, you're very well known. So I don't
bad
think
or
it's a bad.
indifferent.
And personal branding is the thing these days. So people want to do business with people ultimately. So
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that's where we're at the moment. We're year six, and now it's beautiful having repeat referral. Like I'm seeing clients that we bought, once, twice, three times for now. Like, and that's what makes my heart sing because you don't have to prove to them, they know that you're good at what you do. And equally, other buyers agents from interstate and, various people are referring as well, which is great. I mean, that's the best advocate, right?
absolutely. Well, you do go above and beyond with your customer service. So, obviously that's a very big core value of yours. Would you mind sharing, and obviously we're, large sector of my audience is property management, but
Yeah.
can you share some of your customer service ethos and tips with anyone
Yeah,
listening?
sure. So I think we're very methodical. So systems processes, templated emails, like, if you're doing something once, multiple times, template it, Loom videos it. It's about communicating with clients constantly. So we use various platforms, but setting that expectation at the beginning and making sure that you're delivering that the whole way through, understanding your learning style from your client, like how do they like to be communicated. And equally, I've learned that you've got to put parameters in with your time as well. So, we run 6 to 8 buyers at any one time. So it's a very high touch. It's very creative and we collaborate there's with the team. So everybody knows where everything's happening at the same time. So yeah, I think we spend a lot of time educating at the very beginning of the client journey. Again, that's setting expectations or realigning the expectations of the clients. And often we're dealing with two parties, so they're not on the same page. So how can you do your job if they're not meeting and understanding? So we spend probably, I'd say, week to 2 weeks sometimes really educating them, showing them what is on the market, what they can afford. We're very solution focused as well. So there's always something and there's always a level of compromise. It's just not, I guess it's just for them to identify where that compromise is. And authenticity, like honestly, I am who I am in everything that we do. I communicate the same as I do on my social media profile or whatever. So they all want a piece, and it's just interesting. It's fun. They become friends. Like, we were out last night. We had some clients, $4 million purchase from Switzerland. They physically settled on their property on Monday. They'd never even set foot through the property. We did it all over videos and the trust. So we all were having champagne and that last night, which was so lovely. And tonight I'm out for other dinner with clients that I bought that we relocated from Luxembourg. So, it's friends for life. It's
That
great.
That's amazing. And I think you touched on something there that I think as property managers, we don't spend enough time at the start of a new business relationship. We kind of sign the paperwork and then set them up in the system, and that's kind of it. We don't explain to them when they're going to get their first rent, when they can expect their first rental
Yeah.
payment, or when their first inspection is going to be booked in. And so that's really good advice. And I think a lot of property managers need to work on that,
Yeah.
that onboarding of a new client relationship for sure.
We have roadmaps for everything, because you feel like a broken record because we do this every day and you're like, oh God, did I tell them that? Oh goodness. There's a process for everything, there's diagrams so that they know exactly what needs to happen next. So, and now we're starting to go down the videos phase that, I'm going to start videoing things so I can send it as a link, because you get asked the same questions, and although it's a quick response, you just want to make sure that it's a consistent response as well. So, I find that there's a lot of time working on and in the business, and you really need to find that time in your diary as to when you're going to do what phases.
Absolutely. And I think that, yeah, getting something, a system in place for that repetitive work. And I have a philosophy as well that I like to have answered questions before they get asked of
Yeah,
me.
yeah,
So I would do exactly the same thing. Clients keep asking me the same questions. I have that sent to them before they need to ask me that. So
yeah,
some
exactly.
some
Preempting. And, some of them love it. Some of them like it, oh, so overwhelmed, but, they can reference it if they need to. Yeah, it's
yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, they would never not, not know what's next with me
Yeah.
in all my processes. So some great advice there for business owners. Now, I've got a tradition where we ask guests to share some personal development or a book, a podcast, something that has really helped you or you think will help others.
I don't really read a lot of books, to be honest. Podcasts I'm starting to listen to. Actually, Mel Robbins, The Let Them Theory. I think everyone talks about that. That was quite good for me. I feel like I have done so much self-development over the years that I sort of understand what needs to happen. It's about implementing things. But this year I've gone back to working with Sherry Stelra with the Mastermind series, and there's about 20 or so of us, all like-minded individuals, and it's your tribe. Like, we have these amazing guest speakers, but we also do a lot of case studies on each other's businesses. It's a very safe environment. We have to sign confidentiality agreements, but it's very empowering and uplifting because you do feel alone and you might just want to run something past the community and just, what am I doing right, wrong, or what have you. So that's probably where I'm at the moment. But yeah, I've got no wisdom in regards to books or podcasts. I just want to I'm brain fried at the end of the day. So I get home like, no one talk to me. Done. No more questions.
Let me just watch some Netflix and
Yeah,
chill out.
exactly.
Yeah. So maybe
Literally,
Netflix is
literally.
your personal development
Yeah,
now. Yep.
yeah.
And I can
Maybe
relate.
we'll roll with that.
Yeah, I can relate to that. But like coaching, masterminds, all that sort of stuff is amazing personal development as well. Business coaches,
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know. I think you said that earlier. You just don't know what you don't know. And if you can, be guided by somebody who's a couple of steps ahead of you, and you do that already with a lot of buyers agents through the work that you do as well. So
Yeah.
is that something that you do mentoring with upcoming buyers agents?
Yeah, so because of my, I guess, longevity with the RAQ, I became a fellow maybe about 4 years ago. But they asked me to write a 2-day training course. So it's called the Buyer's Agent Essentials Program because we've got an emergence of buyer's agents coming into our sector, which is great if they are ethical and understand what needs to happen. So yeah, I created a 2-day workshop course that we facilitate with another colleague of mine, and that's been like a sellout event. And it's really humbling. It's really beautiful watching people, they come to us all the time wanting us to mentor them. And that would be great if I had the time and capacity. But equally, I've spent 27 years grinding to get to this point. I'm not going to give them my magic sauce after day 3. Do you know what I mean? So, I think you always be diplomatic and supportive and say, well, maybe you could try this, that, and the other. But yeah, no secret sauce is getting released.
Not yet. Not until it's a
Not yet.
paid course or
Wait for the
paid.
book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Yes. Amazing. Joe, how can our audience connect with you further and find out more about you?
Oh, thank you, darling. So anywhere on socials. So just Joanna Boyd Buyers Advocate. Yes, we mainly do a lot on Insta and Facebook and LinkedIn, website as well. But yeah, it's should just my name. You should find it easily.
I'll
Yeah.
share it all in the show notes as well. So
Thank you, darling. Thank you.
thank you so much for joining me and sharing your story. I'm truly grateful and feel so privileged to have met you.
Thank you, darling. See you next year on the bike too, hey?
Maybe.
If you're ready to be a super organised, focused and productive property manager, buckle up because Colmio is about to revolutionise the way that you work. Colmio is the driving force behind property management excellence in residential real estate. Now picture this, a comprehensive end-to-end system designed to be the beating heart of your property management tasks, manage your properties, owners and tenants, and handle payments, inspections, and even marketing listings without leaving the platform. Colmio is designed to be an all-in-one solution to all your property management needs. And here's the game changer. Colmio isn't just software. It's been awarded the most innovative prop tech scale up in 2023. Yes, you heard it right. Colmio has been recognised for their groundbreaking approach to property management software. How good is that? So property managers, whether you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, dive into the future of property management with Colmio. You can book in a demo with the team today and go in their weekly draw for a Prezi gift card worth $100. All you need to do is to head to the link colmio.com/thatpropertymum, and Colmio is KOLMEO.
Can I ask you a quick favour before you leave this episode? Now, we all know how important reviews are for businesses these days, and mine is no different. If you could spare just a minute to follow, rate and review this podcast, it would mean a lot to me. In fact, what would get me super excited is if you share this podcast with someone in the industry who you think might need to hear some of the episodes right now. And if you'd like to find out more about working with me or any of the products I have to help you start, grow or scale your property management business, head to my website, thatpropertymum.com.au, or check out the links in the show notes.